Alright, so I was in the middle of this. We got interrupted a couple nights ago, and then I had to do some stuff yesterday, and then today I can't do that still because I've got to do this. We're just going to change locations because, quite frankly, I'm kind of burned out on this stuff. Can't really breathe. It's super hot. It's not near as hot as it has been, I guess. That's one perk. We were 100, 105. Literally, one day was 100 and something, the next day was 105. Set record highs, and then we've had 50-mile-an-hour wind with gusts probably around 60-ish or so on the 100-degree day, and then the 105-degree day we got 70-mile-an-hour wind, and that took out 2 sections of fence. So, the fun stuff that I kind of also have a little bit of time constraint on because I need to get sent off to powder coating is going to have to wait, and I'm going to just try to swing this. So, bottom line, I've got 2 sections of fence down. One of them has 2 broken corner brackets. No stores around here outside of dedicated fence supply places have corner brackets, or really brackets of any kind, which is kind of mind-boggling considering all the lumber that Home Depot and Lowe's stock. But hey, I guess, you know, people do whatever with it, and particularly fence sections. They have the pre-populated fence sections. This is an area we get strong wind. It's also cold. We're not like downstate where you just put a 4x4 or a post in the ground. You have to use concrete and, you know, galvanized posts, right, for your wood fence. And to not stock that is a little mind-boggling, and there's nowhere open. It's Memorial Day weekend, and I have had this sitting down here in the 2 open drawer for quite some time, and that's what we're finally going to do. I just pulled it up because I've had this for forever. I'm talking like back summer or fall of last year, late summer, fall of last year, I should say. So somewhere in that range, I got it. I'm sure I picked it up on sale. Currently, I went to kind of get a price reference for you. MSRP would be like 65-ish, and it's on sale for 48. It's just something Google pulled up, so we'll run with that. 65-ish. Costs a little bit more than the Bauer unit, but it's also got a little bit more power than the Bauer. Just kind of depends what you want to do. I am not a carpenter. I do not claim to be a carpenter. I basically deal with wood when I have to because it always rots and it always lets me down. So, here we are. I guess, you know, you'd have different standards for furniture versus exterior, but it is what it is. So, bottom line, this is part number HE011. I'll have it linked. I make nothing off of that. Hercules 3-amp, 5-inch variable speed random orbital sander. That's right. So this will be corded. It says it's got vibration control, which will be nice. It's supposedly got a pretty sweet hookup for your shop vac. Not gonna lie, the majority of the time when I have to do crud like this for the fences, I just go out on the driveway. I don't care what blows around. Because again, we have 70-mile-an-hour wind, so it's not going to be here long, right? But you can see they say constant power motor, universal vacuum attachment. That's kind of what we referenced there. Nothing new on this side. This is the money shot, the specs, if you will. I'll try to bring it in just a little bit. So it's going to be a powerful 3-amp variable speed motor. Your max RPM is going to be 13,000. I claim that's for efficient. Oh, OPM, I guess that's oscillations per minute. Initial glance, you know, not being a carpenter or someone that buys sanders, I'm like, oh, typo, but no. It's probably oscillations per minute, something like that. Variable 6-speed dials, that'll actually kind of be nice. It's always good to be able to dial something back, not have the full load RPM, if you will. Deliver steady, constant power flow under full load. Universal hook and loop pad accepts standard 5-inch sanding discs. That's going to be a big deal. If you have some fancy, expensive brand, it should be compatible. If you want the cheapest stuff, you can get that. If you want mid-tier, whatever you want to plug and play, it's 5-inch hook and loop, should be home free. The Universal Dust Port accepts most commonly used vacuum attachments or included dust bag. So this is a little bag for people like me. I guess if I'm outside and I don't want it just shooting all over myself, maybe, I can just have this hooked up, come in, dump it in the trash can. Or dump it outside and let it blow. It's whatever. So, again, there are a few advantages to having winds this strong. Let's see here. Compact design for effortless one-handed use. That will be a perk because oftentimes I don't have, like, you know, a dedicated woodworking table, so it's usually thrown across sawhorses or some item that's going to elevate one side, and I'll kind of need to balance the workpiece while also sanding, so we're good there. Smooth startups and minimal swirl marks. Again, that's good, but in this particular case, while I'm opening this, I've got 2 8-foot 2x4s. I'll have to cut them down to 92 inches. They're kind of swanky, right? They're sort of like the waves of the ocean. And I'm hoping if I lop 4 inches off of the worst side, I can use them. Why, you ask? Because I've only got 3 good ones left. Sometimes I have to just like totally redo the fence sections, and I need 3 to do that. And since I've got a corner down completely, I'm kind of wanting to keep the goodest, best, if you will, 2x4s for that. And subsequently, we're just gonna see if I can use these. It could be a total lost cause, but I guess somehow they were wavy when I got them. This is years and years back. That's why I never used them. And then they kind of, when the rains come, which oddly enough we had some last week, and it flooded the shop again right here. I think one time, like, the water got close to them, and just wood and water, it absorbs, and yeah, it's kind of like I guess it's probably a mold. I don't know. Sort of not natural what you would see occurring on lumber, so I'm going to try to just knock that off, basically. Let's see here. Smooth startups, minimal swarm locks, rubber grip, reduces user fatigue, maximum vibration control for added comfort during extended use. 8-hole dust pad collection system for thorough dust collection. It's got a dust sealed switch. I guess that's going to be a perk for heavy sanding. And inside you're going to get the sander itself, and you're going to get a sanding disc, which is nice because if you just ran to the store and bought this for some project and you didn't think to get the sanding discs, or you don't have any at home, you've at least got some leeway for yourself. And then it does have the dust bag. So total specs are right over here. You're going to need to run this on 120. You've got 3 amps. Variable speed, this is the first time we've seen the range, so 8 to 13,000. I think they said there was 5 or 6 speeds, right? So, yeah, 6-speed dial, so some deviation between that, which would be kind of nice if they would spell that out, actually. Maybe they do in a manual. The pad is hook and loop. It is a 10-foot cord. That's also good to know. 4.2 pounds if you're trying to, like, minimize impact on your hand or something like that. All right, so if you wonder, like, hey, you know, you're into cars, old cars, you know, you do metal stuff, why you don't seem to like wood, why would you buy this? Well, not gonna lie, I kind of, what I was thinking, I get a lot of pallets in at work, right? And then I also get people wanting to buy those pallets, and I have wire spools and people wanting to buy wire spools. And my thoughts were, I kind of keep most of the spools, you know, because, you know, if a customer buys like 400, 600 feet, you know, instead of like trying to put that in a couple of boxes and awkwardly on a pallet, I'll just spool it across an old spool, right? Which is a lot of work because spools are the one thing that somehow hasn't gotten smaller in today's day and age. But it's honestly a deal where what I'm thinking is, if I ever had free time, which I don't know what I'm thinking about that, I can't even get stuff important to me done, but if I did, I could come in and some of those ones that are kind of like trashy looking, I could actually like sand them down, stain them, and probably sell them for, you know, a decent amount of money. So something I might look into. Also, it will be handy here, I'm not gonna lie. There is times I have to do stuff with wood. I typically would not sand down a 2x4, but these are kind of nasty. And the perk side of that is, I guess we can see if this thing works. It's not going to be anything major that we're doing, just sort of, I don't know, if I'm building something, it's kind of like if I've got hardware and it's like flash rusted, you know, or like I've got square tube, you can't see it and I can't get to it because there's an exhaust pipe here. But like if something's flash rusted, before I do anything with it, I clean it. And so even though this is just a 2x4 backing, the middle one for the fence post in this section, I like to have it cleaned up. I don't want to think like, hey, you know, I wonder if I rotted the fence planks prematurely by not knocking off that mold or whatever it was. And again, I don't know these things. It's just preparation. It's how I'm wired, so that's what we're going to do. First thing first, it looks like it's 60 grit, P60 right there. And if you're hoping for like a really cool Hercules blue-green color pad, nope, it's just standard disappointment. The 8 holes, I guess, is for the dust collection, right? So that's one thing. Right here, we've got the manual. I'm going to scan this real quick for us. And it's not to say it's not in here, but I'm just wanting to know. Okay, yeah, they don't bother unless it's buried in there. They don't bother, you know, like what the 6 speeds are. I wish they would do that. That's something you should take pride in when you manufacture something, you know. This right here in the box that I'm trying to find an opening for should be our little dust bag. Oh yeah, not too shabby. So there she blows. Again, I don't really have anything to compare this to for you, so I'm just gonna say that it feels decent and looks nice initially, and we'll run with that. It is a 2-prong plug for those of you that have wonky outlets and or extension cords. There's our dust port. The unit itself, we can kind of get a look at here. So we've got, it looks like little hex bolts recessed. There's our dust collection. There it is spinning. We will go ahead. It looks like we have 2 little click tabs here. And I guess that little slot lines up on the back. There's an O-ring, I'm thinking. And I guess you do want that secure, or it defeats the purpose. So there she is. What I'll do now is take you over to what I'm going to just slip the back off of, and we'll get to at least see what this does. So I'll stick this on, and I will tell you if we come down here. Let's see if I can get my consumable drawers correct. I did grab this in part. I think it was the best buy at the time. I also don't know if they had the Hercules stuff. Here recently I've seen them add a bunch of Hercules sanding products, so that might be the case. But right here I went ahead and I snagged these. These are from Bauer. They're 150 grit. I'm pretty sure that's not what I ordered now that I look at it, but whatever. So there we are. I'll probably pick up a lot more of these, but again, that's sort of the perk of these boxes. Sort of to have it for consumables and stuff like that, which would usually just be awkwardly sitting out somewhere for me. So we'll tweak that as we go, but right now I'm going to can it. I'm going to get an extension cord, get this thing plugged in, and get that on, and we'll showcase the wood, but kind of just like a before and after, I guess. And then hopefully I'll lop 4 inches off and we can go and it'll fit and not bow the fence. But it might, and it could all just be more wasted time. So what will it be? I don't know, but we'll at least get to see this thing in action, so I will try to make that happen for you. Correction, since that's my only 60, since I kind of thought that's what I had ordered and apparently didn't get, I'm going to go ahead and use one of these. Why? Because again, I'm just doing like a light dusting as far as I'm concerned, you know, compared to what I typically sand and grind. This would be light duty, so I'm thinking the 150 might work just fine, and then I would have that in case I need it for like metal or something, you know. So these are the Bauers. You can see the part number there. I'll try to have those linked for you. They say it's high performance hook and loop backing. They've got a premium aluminum oxide grain anti-clog technology. We'll see about that. Ideal for wood, metal, and plastics. And that is the other perk here. I can also use this like, I've got some channel iron and angle iron back here that's flash roasted. I can just run that over it if I want to, as opposed to my typical methods. And we'll just kind of see what I like better. But coming to the backside for extra coarse, they say for removing, you'd want 40, 60, or 80. 40, I guess, would be the Bauer line's most aggressive. 60 and 80, as well as 100, 120, 150, and 180 would fall into the smoothing slash removing category, I guess. It would be considered medium. They say moderate to light stock removal all the way from 60 to 180. And then 220, 320 would be your fine finishing. 400 plus would be your extra fine finishing. And it looks like the way this works, we'll just tear this off. Alright, so there we are. We'll go ahead and get this thing set up and go to town. Alright, so there it is. Just kind of self-adheres onto that. This one has total different structure, but I mean, the 8 holes match up. I don't know if it's part of their anti-clog. I don't know if it's a better pad. I don't know what the ovals are going to do. But it does line up. That'll be for our dust collection. Just a little bit of overlap, which is fine. That'll keep us from hitting the buffing wheel. And we're going to go finally use this thing. Alright, so just to show you what we're working with, these 2 gems are both wavy and terrible, but that's what I'm talking about. Again, I'm no carpenter, I'm no expert. It's just aged wood, and I don't want to put that up against fence planks, so we're not going to. I'm going to sand it. It should not take too terribly long. Shouldn't be too big of a test for this, but it's going to be way better than doing it by hand, I hope. And that's kind of the end goal. But case in point here, if I step down and you look at that side, it's almost a seesaw, right? So that side is the worst, so I'm going to probably cut it from 96 to 92 over there. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's probably just going to get cut down to like usable sizes. I do have, like I said, 3. I actually stock. You know, this stuff happens enough that I stock stuff. I'm down to 3 brand new good 2x4s. But these were up. This is a 3x3 metal building, just to kind of give you an idea how this happened. And I had them standing on the square tubing in the bottom. The water, obviously, that comes in under the threshold does not get that tall. But it's just a situation where somehow these like took on the moisture like wood'll do, and this is what happened to them. So I'm gonna see if I can get them used and out of here. If not, they'll be back in smaller pieces, so at least that'll be out of my floor. Alright, so it's super bright out here, but I have to say, cheered up a little bit because this thing was awesome. The only thing I don't like is the switch. If you have the switch right here pressed into on, it will fire up on its own, so I kind of didn't think that was a possibility, but it is. Speed switch is right there. You go from 1 to max as best I can tell. It is dirty. I'm not quite sure how much got into the dust port, but this was the nastiest 2x4. Again, to me, I just see a glare. Maybe it shows up better in the camera, but it did clean it up real nice, I have to say. The Bauer pad, let's take a look at how it fared. Pretty good shape. Again, I've done all 4 sides because, again, if you're going to do something, do it right. But I'll go ahead and get this sander cleaned up, and looks like a pretty decent little pickup for me. Yeah, that is the Hercules little oscillating sander. No complaints so far, and we'll just kind of keep you posted as we go. Alright, so to kind of wrap this up, we're just going to set this guy down. I think you can see it better, at least I can. I'm not sure if it applies to you, but it's just super, it's like midday right now, 90-something degrees, and there's just clear skies, no clouds. It's just glare city out there. But, like I said, if we look right here, this is a speed switch. Didn't get to showcase that ahead of time, but you can't see it. You're welcome. Now you can. If that looks like a 1, it's because it is. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we eventually get to what says max. So I was running this on 2. Again, I'm no carpenter, don't claim to be, but it worked fine for what I'm doing. Again, surprising thing to me is how good the pad still looks. I guess we should feel it and see if there's any grain to it. Still got some life in her, so I'd say that's good news. The one thing that always sucks anytime you sand is just the dust, the debris. We should have, let's just actually, against my better judgment, I'm going to pull this off. I don't care if you don't see it. I just don't want to dump it onto the toolbox. That's kind of what I'm trying to avoid. This is a super tight fit. Again, I get why it would need to be. It's what you're trying to accomplish. Alright, well, there's the business end, the discharge. There's the bag. I'm not sure much went in there, but again, we didn't exactly do a lot, so it's kind of a buzzkill. But I will dump that regardless. I'll clean this up. That's the thing that really sucks, is you almost have to have compressed air or air in a can or something to clean that real good and easily in an efficient manner. But yeah, I mean, I have to say, for again, it's been a long time since I bought it. I think it was in that tool haul when I got the orange 4-drawer tool cart, which again, that was like late last fall. Early fall, I should say. But variable speed, random orbital sander. I don't have anything to compare it to, but it seems pretty good here initially. So the ultimate question that will determine if we got a good deal or not is simply how long will it last? And using what little I know about anything like this, keep it clean, right? Keep all the debris that you can out of the tool. That's going to prolong the life. That's why anytime you're done, granted, like right now, I'm going to go do the fence. But before the job is really done, we're going to clean this thing up. Number 1, so it's nice in storage. Number 2, again, just to extend the life. So whether you're buying, you know, a $50 orbital sander or you're getting a $300 one, take care of the tools. It will always reward you. But again, for somebody that doesn't really plan to use this thing a ton, it was nice. It looks like, again, like if I had, say, sheet metal, a frame rail, certain just whatever you want to apply fabrication or automotive-wise, if I can fit it, I can sand it, and that's an advantage to me that I didn't have before. So aside from the cleanup, I don't really have anything bad to say about this. So good news there. I'll probably pick up some random stuff. Future tool haul, we'll get like an assortment of sanding pads. But yeah, it did what I wanted it to, and I would have shown it to you, but it's really hard to set up out on it, and you know, I don't have the best driveway, you know, it's like crushed rock, so it's an irregular surface, just like the 2x4. And, it's just easier for me to do it and then show it and talk about it, so that's kind of what we did. But I have no complaints. Again, if you have used this, by all means tell people in the comments what your experience were, whether it's good, whether it's bad, makes no difference to me. If you would say, hey, you know, if you're looking to spend 40 to 60 bucks, you should have bought this, do that. If you say, hey, if you're looking for the best, get this. Again, this is sort of out of my scope of knowing or being super into, so if it works for me, it works for me, and I just hope that it works long enough that I feel like I got my money's worth. But as always, if there's something like this that you want from Harbor Freight, even though we don't have as frequent coupons or deals as we do, I would just wait. You know, if you can wait, you know, 1 to 2 months, you're probably either going to get a coupon or a sale on the item or a similar item in the store, and you can stretch your funds that way. But with that said, I got to get back out in the heat and repair a fence, so I'm going to do that. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. Alpha gloves, 20% off. Always wear them to keep me safe. And especially, I got a nasty splinter at my sister's house yesterday on the attic, a brand new like attic stair thing that hadn't been used. And it was one of those deals where it went in right. I mean, it was thick, like the whole stair. And what happened is she's got really tall ceilings, right? And so we were going to go put it up because we realized they didn't floor any of her attic, so we couldn't do the things we were going to do. But I had something pierce me here, and it was like so long and thick, dude. It was almost like a square awl. It just drove out the other side, and so I had to go in. I found out her tweezers suck, and I had to extract that from my hand. But little things like this prevent that from happening. So that's, if you're wondering, like, oh, you don't need gloves for that. Well, you're talking to a man that had a pretty nasty splinter less than 24 hours ago, so I'll err on the side of caution. But with that said, your thoughts and opinions on this thing, feel free to leave them. I got some work to do. Hope you do as well. Maybe not in the sun and the wind, but hey, if it is, you're not the only one. So with that said, thanks for watching. Have yourself a fantastic week. I'll catch you back here for more action from the shop.